We've talked on the show about how Latin American players are very upper body centric first when they're very young, from ages
Hmm.
14 to 16. And you mentioned you graded out Juan Soto above average. I think that his teammate Victor Robles, for example, is still upper body centric. He still
Hmm.
hasn't gotten rid of those habits to where his upper body leads his
Hmm.
lower body. It should be vice versa, as we've talked about on this program.
Hmm.
But with Juan Soto, when you graded him above average, was he lower body centric? Because I made a note here and we're going to go over it in the mechanical breakdown. He sinks into his legs really, really well. And I don't think that's
Hmm.
something that you can particularly change in him. You can't just say, okay, go from upper body centric to really sinking and using your legs and gaining that ground force. What did you see with him mechanically that you graded him out above average when he was 14?
It was definitely more lower body.
Mm-hmm.
Like his upper body was okay, because he was young too. So it's harder to have good upper bodies with weak muscles.
Mm-hmm.
His lower body was in it. It was athletic. It was aggressive. It powered his swing without leaving his upper body behind. So that's sometimes what happens with a lot of amateur players, U.S. players. And I wouldn't even say the 18-year-olds or the 17-year-olds. I'm talking about like the 12 and 13-year-olds that really drive. We spend a lot of time and energy here. Get into your legs, turn your hips, squish the bug back in the day. Everything's a turn, a pivot, a snap, whatever. And what happens is we do that with our big muscles, and then all our weak muscles get left behind, and that's where bat drag and casting comes in. So the good part about the international players is, it's much easier to add lower body later on. I mean, not super aggressive lower body, but it's easier to add lower body than to add upper body later on. I guess
Mm-hmm.
that's the best way to say it. Not that one's better than the other, but when you're trying to change or increase it. But yeah, Soto was a leg guy early
Mm-hmm.
for sure, which stood out compared to most of the players, most of his peers at that time internationally.
When he was in the minor leagues, he once told his manager, I don't know if you have a comment about this, but he wasn't going to be there very long. I think it was at the AA level. He was sleeping at the time in the clubhouse on a blow up mattress. And he said, don't worry about it. I'm not going to be here very long. And he wasn't. Do you think that, I don't know, just throwing this out there, that the Nats brass maybe heard that and they further felt assured that they have something special here?
Yeah, I mean, it's what was the story with Daniel Murphy at
Mm-hmm.
University of Virginia? It was something similar to that. Like, they all introduced themselves as, freshmen, the new freshmen coming in, and they were like, introduce who you are and whatever. And he was like, I'm Daniel Murphy. I hit third and play second.
Yeah, that was at the University of
Something like that.
Jacksonville. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, was it Jackson? That's where he
Correct.
went?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, you might be
he went
confusing
to
him with Ryan
UV.
Zimmerman.
Maybe Zimmerman. I'm probably confusing him with him. So anyway, yeah, I mean, some guys have that internal confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And we had guys, I played in college with guys that had that kind of confidence. And God, I hope he's listening to this podcast. I don't think does he have a son? Anyway, somebody came in like that freshman year, and we taped him to a wooden chair in his underwear and drove him all around campus.
We got to say who it is now. You can't leave us hanging there. You have to say who it is.
Paul Cooler. He's a great friend and a great dude.
I wonder if he
But
has a
that was
Twitter.
their
Maybe I'll
freshman year.
tweet
We're like,
him.
Paul's the best. So he had it was just great because we had an All-American right fielder. It was like a stud. I think he hit 30 home runs, 28 home runs 1 year in college.
Mm-hmm.
And then this freshman comes in and is like, yeah, I'm your starting right fielder.
Yeah.
And back in the day there was more hazing and stuff like that. All in good fun.
Yeah.